Yo, what's going on? Another episode of This, That, and the Third. I got my man Josh Chan. This is a young legend right here, man. It's gonna be a really good, fun podcast, man. As you know, what we like to do here is show different industries with people. We like to highlight those as legit doing the business. There's a lot of fake people out here, so I like to be the standard. Josh is one of those individuals, man. So happy to have you on, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like every time we talk on the phone, I'm just like, dude, there's just too much value here, man. It has
Yeah.
to be recorded, man.
We gotta put it out there.
Everybody knows what's going on.
Right. I wish we could have had highlighted some of those moments, but we'll touch on some of those here
Yeah.
just to get the people of just what you do and like so much impact and your influence that you have that they don't know. That's the
Yeah.
cool part. It's like, and I talk about like your network is akin to your net worth, you know.
Yeah.
So having a resource for you, like just to conversate. Sometimes we just talking about different stuff. I appreciate that. I want to tell like live to the world, like super grateful for that friendship you have, man. You like always been down to earth and answer the call, man. So I'm grateful for that.
I
Come.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, man, what a freaking begin. Because I know your journey started some years back, kind of tell the people, yes, your journey, because you do data, but you do way more than that in terms of your business structure.
Yeah. I got started. So actually, I started as an entrepreneur, right? I would
Yeah.
sell iPhone chargers door to door.
Yeah.
That was my first business ever. I did that when I was 18, made 30 grand from that business. And then with that 30 grand startup capital, I got into real estate. Basically I made about like $1.5 million from wholesaling.
Hmm.
And then I would invest it into data companies over time and, create the empire that I have today. So
Yeah. Nice, man. So you always had that entrepreneur bug. Like myself, well, whether it was doing fire sticks, doing DVD sales, just scrambling, doing things.
you're
in
doing
the street.
DVD sales,
Oh
man,
man,
with the stickers, bro, and then
Yeah.
stick it on the CD, man.
I had this whole. I had a whole business, bro, to where they was $5 doing 3 for 10s and all of that stuff, man. I had that thing cranking back in the DVD era.
Oh
So
man, bro.
that
So you had the DVD cases and then you put your own movies,
yeah,
like the paper, right?
right.
I like
Yeah,
it,
had them
man.
down in the slips. Oh, I used to have them. And Walmart used to sell those little paper DVD
Yeah,
slips. I had hundreds of them, and they were just set. I had all of them. I figured out how to get quality movies from that was recorded.
right.
However, they was bootleg, and I have no idea.
They
But it
were
was,
recorded.
yeah, it was legit though, bro. I'm telling you. And I was just scrambling hard with those.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So my journey is a little different because again, like my family we didn't have too much anything coming up, growing up.
yeah,
And we grew up in the time, my era is the 70s, space, so the 80s, I grew up in that era. So when
yeah.
all of this drugs hit and all that, it was like atomic bomb in the neighborhood. So when you see those stories, those are legit, true how it used to be.
What is your upbringing, bro? Because I didn't even know your upbringing.
Oh man, so me, I was born in Statesville, North Carolina. And during that time again, it was once those 80s hit, at first it was just the hippie age, the hippie era. So everybody smoking weed. I don't know if they were doing LSD and all that stuff like they do in the movie. I don't know. What they did, I had no idea. I was
Right.
young. But once that cocaine and that crack and all that hit, now it became like a freaking jungle. So you could go outdoors literally and just see chaos. That was my upbringing. And my uncles, they was big in it, not trying to make them sound like the mob or nothing like that. That's definitely what there was. But their name meant something out there, and they was literally the one. So I'm a kid.
Yeah.
And being around that, and of course, groomed into it. It's kind of like you see on the movie legit, like you in this thing, you grew up in the family, and this how it happens. And I used to be a kid just having large amounts of stuff, carrying on know what I got, and hiding all of this stuff. And that was what I was taught. I don't regret it, like none of it that come with it, the trouble that come with it, none of that,
Yeah.
because it allows me to now take all of that skill set and for good though, because you never wanted to be a part of it, but you felt that's what you was. You felt like this is your life. You know what I mean?
A hundred
Proximity.
percent.
Kind of like when you was growing, I know in Fayetteville,
Yeah,
it's a different environment, different upbringing. Those
very
things
big
had
difference.
like, yeah, it had like a profound effect on you. How was that like today, in today's terms? How would you say your upbringing and stuff has been just an integral part in what you're doing today?
I think every successful person, man, like they are who they are because of the upbringing, right?
Hmm.
They have what they have because they didn't have what the, you know, that stuff
Yeah.
growing up.
Hmm.
You know, like for me, I grew up in the hood of Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I went to like Hope County High School when I was growing up, man. You know, there were a bunch of bad things happening like after
Yeah.
school, right? Like students shooting other students,
Hmm.
um, like 8 friends in jail, that type of stuff, right? And you know, like that's all you kind of know growing up. But I think all it really takes, man, is like, you know, one person to show you like the other side,
Hmm.
you know, to really you know, like kind of like my story too, man. You know, there was this one guy, his name Dick Taylor.
Mm.
He so I went to college for 1 year, right? I went to UNCP,
Yeah. You see people.
and back then they were teaching like social media advertising, right?
Hmm.
And I would door knock, you know, like I would try to sell like Facebook advertising to like, you know, all these other companies, right? So I
Hmm.
would door knock the movie theaters, and then they would be like, oh, Dick Taylor owned the movie theaters. I would door knock apartment buildings to see if they wanted more tenants.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, Dick Taylor owns the apartment building. I would door knock the mall and the retail stores, and they're like, Dick Taylor owns all of this.
Yeah.
To a point, bro, where Dick Taylor, he literally gave me a call, and he's like, "Hey man, I heard you're like, you know, like looking for me, and you know, I heard you're like a UNCP student. I love UNCP students. I donated $7 million to that university." And I was in Lumberton, North Carolina, right? So Lumberton, it's the hood even more, like,
Yeah.
right?
Like you said.
So they tell you the richest person in Lumberton, North Carolina,
Mm.
but he was my first mentor,
Mm.
and they tell you like, yeah, you know, if you want, I'll show you around. He like so he showed me his warehouse of 80 cars. He's like, I own all of these 80 cars, right?
Mm.
And I was like, you know, I didn't know anything about classic and old cars, right? Like I was like, I mean, they're all right cars, and he's like, yeah, I bought this car for 1.4 million, this car for 800,000, this car for six hundred
Wow.
thousand,
Yeah.
and that was my first mentor, right? I was like, bro, do you read? He's like, no, I don't read at all, man. I was like, this is the best mentor for me. Because I was a straight C student.
Yeah.
I'm not good at any of that stuff,
Hmm.
right? And you know, going to his office, I would see that you know, he didn't know how to use a computer, yet the dude was worth like $80 million.
Mm.
And he would teach me more so like on the hard work ethic. Like he would go to the office 6 a.m. every single morning. He'd leave the lights on so that he could come back to the office at like 8 p.m.
Hmm.
And so what I learned was, you know, like the fact that this guy doesn't even know how to use a computer,
Yeah.
right? The fact that this guy doesn't read, and the fact that this guy's in the hood, right?
Hmm.
If he could do something, like I could too, you know. And then for him, you know, he was humble. Like he died now, right? But he was humble enough to teach me, like, and he was also humble enough to introduce me to like some friends before he passed away,
Hmm.
you know. And he was just like, hey man, like, you know, this is the steps I would do. Why, like small things, like he introduced me to Jim Thomas. He's the previous owner of the Sacramento Kings in
Mm.
California.
Hmm.
You know, Jim Thomas built, you know, $750 million worth of skyscrapers out in Los Angeles. And like, you know, certain connections like that, Jim Thomas would say, hey, the big deals in real estate are just as hard as the easy deals
Hmm.
if they make the same amount of money. And so like I would always remember small things like that, you know, so that like even at the level I am now, you know, like you know, it sticks with me, right? So I think everybody is just that one person away to like really change. And nowadays, man, like I think that there's access to a lot of those people, right?
Hmm.
But as you and I talk about, you have to know who's legit and who's not legit, right?
Hmm.
Because we live in that industry where it's like 50% of the people fake it.
Right.
50% of the people, like my mentors, Jim Thomas, you can look him up. He's the previous owner of the Sacramento Kings. You can't fake owning a basketball team
Right,
in
right.
freaking America,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Dick Taylor, you can't fake owning 80 cars. It's like, oh, these gurus have one Lamborghini.
Right,
My mentor got 80 cars, bro. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's like, so I think it's just about meeting the right people, like, cause you can't control how you started, but what you can control is what are you gonna do about everything today?
Mm-hmm. Hundred
What
percent.
impact are you gonna create?
Mm-hmm. 100%. It's not how you begin, it's how you end. A
Exactly.
million percent, bro. That's I look at the journey of it. I understand that I'm in the mindset of what's yours is yours. It's created for you because you got a vision of it. Somebody's telling you about it. Those are not happenstance and coincidences because that ain't how life is set up. That ain't how this is orchestrated, right? So when I look at people, it's like, okay, why am I seeing this thing? Is it something I should be doing? Is it part of my journey and my search? So you touched on that, man. How important of mentors,
Yeah.
how just that one connection can now lead you to another,
Yeah.
a whole another path in life. And that's one of the things I want to do is be a beacon for that. It's like being a light to say, hey, let's go this way, not this way. And I can relate to both sides. I can be on any side because I'm from this side, but I'm also more in tune to the side that we on right now. So,
I
what?
asked you your dream, man, and then what you told me was that, your dream is to give people the opportunities who didn't have the same opportunities, right?
Mhm.
People that came from something where, it was hard to have opportunity to being able to do something for themselves
Yeah.
today. Tell me about that, man.
Yeah, see, I think that's important. It's kind of like how you said that having someone from the owners of the Sacramento Kings and some another previous owners have tons of real estate. You're knocking all these doors and businesses, and it come back to him. I'm in that position now to where not those guys are a basketball team, but the ability to own a portfolio of real estate to come from zero, basically not zero. That's lying,
Yeah.
because I'm basically at a job where I'm running a computer program at that point and hustling DVDs and fire sticks. I was doing all right, trust me. So, but I didn't do any real estate.
Yeah.
So the entrepreneur side is like always been in me because of the upbringing. You see, my uh, uncle, I never seen him with a job until now. He had one, you know what I mean? But he was always doing all of this stuff for our family, and I never forget it. Like this is the thing that sticks in my mind, not the most about my childhood, but when we got cable, it was a show called Porky's. It's a movie, right? It's an
Okay.
old movie called Porky's, and it sounds kind of perverted. It's about these group of friends, and they just have fun, do crazy stuff, and it's Porky's. It came on a Friday on HBO, and that's the day we got cable. So it came in at 8 o'clock. I remember him walking the house and saying, "Porky," he was like, "Man, be quiet, be quiet." I'm a kid. I have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
business let me watch this movie. It's like perverted on a whole
What
nother
is
level.
it about?
It's about a group of friends and they just doing perverted stuff, like whether with girls or just wild stuff as kids. You gotta see it, bro. You
Yeah,
gotta see it.
okay.
Trust me, it's Porky one, Porky two. It's gonna bug you out.
Dude, if it made it to a second series, man, I know it's good, bro.
Exactly, right? It's
Yeah.
Porky, and they went up against basically, I think it was some owner or something. It's been so long I can't remember the movie. But the highlighter was that that's when we first got cable. We had this black and white TV. And we got it because my uncle, he was in the street hustling, doing his thing, and he had all this. That's literally how he provided. And we was in the projects at that time. So me looking at them, like how you had your mentors, that was the ones I looked up to. Those were my heroes. Like, man, these people, when they go outside, they called him the mayor, like literally of this whole city. Everybody called to this day they call him the mayor, right? So seeing that was like my true north. Like, okay, I don't know how to do anything else, and this person, and of course they ain't gonna let me do it, right?
Right.
That wasn't the type of party right there. He was hiding me from it, wouldn't let you do it, but I'm in the car with you. I'm holding these bags of stuff that I have no idea what I'm holding. I know I have enough sense If the police come, don't say nothing, hide stuff, and all of this. So you groomed like this, you know. But you always know it's more. And then as you going up, you start seeing, of course, he got incarcerated. Other people now addicted that you see as friends. You know what I mean? You seeing like it's crazy. You know how it was back then. So as you grow older, you eventually become that by default because your last name, you know. So of course I graduated high school. I was always super smart, you know what I mean, and just I just knew how to get money, whether it was selling newspapers
Yeah.
from the local newspaper and making enough money,
Yeah.
then going swimming or doing what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was my whole search, you know, until eventually you get in trouble. It's either prison or death. It's no retirement plan when it comes to that. And that's something I don't shy away from, but it's not nothing that I highlight either. Because a lot of what I see in social media as well as just the way the world is, they highlight stuff that's of no substance and it leads you down the wrong world.
That's
You
true.
know, that's why I say I don't even you don't hear me listen to a lot of music because I know for one you lying. There's no way you can do all of this stuff, and then two, it's no substance. It's leading us the wrong way. It's leading these group of people that don't know no better, right? So me coming from that, I know I can change it because when I'm out, people like I see you doing it. I want to do it. You know what I mean?
What advice would you give to people that are going through something where they're lost in life and then they want to, make something for themselves?
Yeah, don't give up.
Don't
Like
give up.
one thing about it, bro, that I noticed too is that it's hope. When you don't, when you feel like this is it, that's what you're gonna do. That's all you feeling. But when you don't want to do that though. I've never met like legit any. And I can met some stories we can talk about and either trip you out. The people I know and I met, of course, they did not want to be involved. They were trying to exit it. You don't want to do it. It's just that this is what you feel or you're a part of. You're trying to get away from it, and it never happens like that. You end up getting in trouble because you done too much. So my advice is to tell them to get around better people. Because if you're around 5 millionaires, you're gonna be the sixth,
Yeah,
hundred
100%.
percent. If you're around those five people that's scrambling, you're gonna be the sixth one to stay inside of it. Should
And
be
there's a
elevated.
completely different language with like how like the rich people think about things and then how the like middle class think about things and
Hmm.
then how the poor class thinks about things.
Hmm.
It's like, because I mean, most rich people, they're investing their money someplace, right?
Hmm.
Because you and I in the beginning were hustling for cash, right? I'm selling iPhone chargers, you're selling DVDs, right?
Right.
And the thing is, it's like in America,
Hmm.
only 20% of the money is in cash. 80% of people's money is in their real estate or their businesses,
Right.
right? So people that know how to move equity, right, within people's real estate or businesses are the ones that know how to get wealthy. And that's like a certain language that wasn't taught to like the poor middle class, right? Obviously we grew up poor middle class, right?
Hmm.
But I think like for example, the word equity, a lot of people need to like small things like that, like what is equity? How do you move equity? Oh, look, if a business is selling for $100 million and you have to take 3% of that transaction, that's $3 million for one transaction. What about a piece of real estate? Oh, this real estate is worth, let's just say 300 grand, and you have to take 10% of that transaction. You make 30 grand right
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
And I know like when you and I talk about like oh certain deals with you, you tell me about like doing assisted living facilities
Hmm.
and like things like that. Like that's the language, like the language of the wealthy. It's the language of real estate. It's the language of business. It's the language of investing.
Hmm.
And I think that like if people understood, like I know you and I talk a lot about creative finance because that's one of your specialties,
Hmm.
right? Um, like John Rockefeller, right? Like him or hate him. Like I don't know that much about him. What I do know is that, he had this quote, and that quote is own nothing, control everything.
100%.
Right? How do you own real estate without controlling it? Like I know both you and I have done real estate deals where, we don't own the transaction. We
Hmm.
control the transaction and all of a sudden we get a wire of 30 grand. All of a sudden we get a wire of 18 grand. Or passively, we're getting wires of like 300 every month, 400 every month.
Mm-hmm.
And we learn to stack up transactions because we learn how to speak the language of the wealthy people. And anybody can be a wealthy person. It just
Mm-hmm.
comes down to, mindset. And it's like, am I gonna do what it takes to learn this game?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so true. The mindset of it all. That's
Yeah,
all it is. It's the thing of saying this is possible, and that we in a beautiful country of America. So anything that you can have that conception of, you can do it. We have so many examples of that. That's why I like the scrappy ones too, like the ones that come from nothing, like said Jay-Z. His story is a real story. What he's done, and now it transcended, took those skill sets and put it now into just the legal side of things.
yeah,
So that's cool, man. So in terms of what you're doing, how you look at things,
yeah.
right? Your view of like what's the next 5 years look like for Josh? Because you're doing tons on the data side. I don't even
Mhm.
know. I know we're skipping over some stuff. I'm trying to rewind because we got to just
Sure.
vibe. I have to kind of remember we're doing this podcast for the people. We trying to educate them, but because I look at you too, it's like really good at data. You know how to
Right.
find the leads, and without the leads, you have no business.
Yeah.
Like that's number one thing. What's your take on it? It's like with technology coming, AI just here, the thing of onset of robotics.
Yeah.
What effect you think that have just on the industry as a whole of how we generate leads today?
You either need to partner with AI or you either need to use a strategy where AI can compete,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because, and I don't think AI is that now. Because I think AI is going to be great within 10 years, right? So
Yeah.
everybody has this 10-year window to react right now. Because AI, like if something was true AI, you can literally tell ChatGPT, do the work of 100 software developers and create Facebook from scratch for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is AI gonna do that right now? Hell no.
No,
It's like here's the
it's a lot.
instructions, and the instructions don't work half the time,
Well, right.
right? And so it's getting there. It's still a work in progress. So it's the same thing on the data side, right? Like, so kind skip tracing, we create predictive data. And
Mm.
so what does predictive data mean? Well, so whenever I first got started in real estate, I've always told my mentors, I don't care how hard it is, just tell me what it takes to be consistent,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want to know how hard it is to be consistent in getting every single deal. I want to guarantee myself a deal every single month. And my mentor would always say, like, dude, like, you want to know how hard it is to get a deal? It's literally 2,000 conversations. That's the formula. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, you need 1,999 no's. I'm not interested in selling my property
Mm-hmm.
just to get one yes. But when you get that one yes, it's a random 15, 30, 45, 100 grand deal.
Mm-hmm.
And which sounds like a lot, right? But reality is you get to a point like, in the beginning, you're doing 100 calls a day, right? For 20 days straight. That's how you guarantee yourself a deal every month. But then you get to a point where you hire somebody
Mm-hmm.
to do, 100 calls a day for 20 days straight,
Right.
and and they earn part of that deal, and you earn part of that deal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and so that's what 99% of the successful like wholesalers are doing to get deals for right now. So where does AI tie into this? Well, eventually predictive data is going to be to a point where like our predictive data, people are at a point where, they can get away with like, let's just say 900 conversations per deal, which is like half the time of, what every other
Yeah.
software does.
Because I got to go from cold. You cold calling them.
Hmm.
So that's getting okay. The number one thing of motivation, and then it's a warm lead. It
Yeah,
goes to this process of multiple calls,
exactly.
and then it comes into a contract.
Exactly. 10 years from now, bro, I think data is going to be to a point where, one in every 200 calls is a deal. Like you can literally do 200 calls and it's 15 grand. That'd be
Mm-hmm.
insane. That means you can make 15 grand every 2 or 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
With 200 calls a
Yeah, with
day.
just 200 calls, which is insane.
Yeah, because with predictive data, you basically knowing that they are likely to list and sell
Exactly.
when it's off market. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because here's the reality, right? The reality is you and I have both called over 1,000 vacant houses.
Mm-hmm.
And like when we call 1,000 vacant houses, the reality is like, oh, I'm keeping this house in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, I don't want to sell this house. I know it needs 100 grand worth of work. I'm gonna do this work in 15 years. Right? Oh, I know this house is vacant, but me and my husband are gonna live in the house 20 years from now as a
Right.
retirement home.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so that's the reality of 1,000 conversations of vacant houses. So just because the house is vacant doesn't mean anything.
Mm,
Right? You have to catch them at the right time.
right.
And so so predictive data is gonna get to a point where it's like, oh dang, you can track that this person has not paid their water bill while it's vacant in the last 3 months. On top of that, you can see their credit score falling from 650 down to 600. On top of that, you can see that they used to purchase 30 items at Target every single week, and now they're only purchasing 15 items at Target every single week.
Mm-hmm.
And then data is so good to a point where it's like, dang, I know within a X amount of time frame that this person's likely to agree to sell their property
Mm-hmm.
based off of that alone.
Yeah. Because all the information is kind of being sold, you know, so they can see, like you saying, that you see if their credit scores drop, okay, there's something with either high credit card use or missed payment, something going on, as well as like even down to I was talking to a dad again. He was talking about even down to the magazines that you get for your subscriptions to
Yeah.
tell the story. You know,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool, man. I love that. There's more. It takes a lot of time because success loves speed. You know what I mean? So you don't want to be sifting through a lot of data that's no good when it's like, okay, this list right here is more prone to. It's high equity, it's absentee, but also these other factors is inside of it. So you think at a kind of point where it just nailed down to where that's just the pathway of it, basically.
Exactly.
That's gonna be crazy, bro. Like legit. I was hearing it when I was talking to a guy about it, and I was just trying to picture like, dang, there's so much privacy laws too,
Exactly.
you know? So it's like, cause you get information that a person don't even realize that they consenting to, you know?
Yeah. Like everybody has to start off with like, so you have what's called like low barrier entry
Mm-hmm.
businesses and then high barrier entry businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like data and software is high barrier to entry because there's always laws coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to hire lawyers. Might cost you 100 grand a year to hire lawyers, right? And so like it's not a first business you want to do. Like what a lot of people like, for a lot of my friends, they see me like, traveling 15 different countries or whatever, right? Like I'll spend a lot of money here and there, but the thing is, it's like, like I've always made sure my small businesses were cash flowing 30 grand a month,
Mm-hmm.
like to start off, right? So like I knew that money was coming in, because like I would master, certain processes, like Warren Buffett says, the art of investing is investing some money you have right now to have a higher return in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mentors growing up, they would teach me like, dude, like all it takes is like investing 3 grand a month to make 30 grand a month. Like and anybody can make 3 grand, right? You can work at McDonald's and save 3 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get to a point where you're investing 3 grand a month to make 30 grand a month. Now, if someone tells you, oh, you can invest 3 grand a month to make 100, they're selling some sort of BS, type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like if you learn to like cash flow from small things first, then you get to a point where you learn how to cash flow from the big things. Because owning data companies and software companies, sometimes you have brand bills of 400 to 600 grand. But luckily, because of your small businesses being able to afford it,
Mm-hmm.
like that keeps you alive through
Right.
the ups and downs.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's interesting too. Like the idea of how you niche it down, you know, because one thing that I always say is that having one job is it's too close to the none. You know, anything can happen. Just in businesses, like you can get really good at this one thing, and then it'll kind of diversify from each other. You start having verticals that come from it. You know, kind of like real estate. You may start off where you just cold calling, you wholesaling, but now from that wholesale business, you done got good at training VAs.
Yeah.
So now you start a VA company from
Yeah.
these relationships. You know, and that generates income.
And bro, you know, one thing I love about cold calling, bro, is that you know, with all these AI laws right now, like
Hmm.
there's a law called like the one-to-one consent rule, and basically what this one-to-one consent rule is, like I think it literally releases this month, you know, January 2025, and it basically says that like you can't legally create AI systems to cold call for you that are automated because you know you had ChatGPT voice AI,
Yeah.
right? And obviously ChatGPT could chances are create an automatic voice to talk to the homeowners.
Hmm.
But the thing is you know FCC laws and FTC laws want to prevent humans from losing that type of job opportunity.
Hmm.
So they keep so that's the thing about AI too, right? You know, there's laws in place by the U.S. government to protect, you know, us from being out of business in some places. You know, so that's why, you
Yeah.
know, you either have to compete in places where AI can't, or you have to partner with AI. You know, it's
Hmm.
just about reading the scenario and then like seeing what's best, you know,
Hmm.
from there.
Because I truly think it is AI is going to be embedded in basically everything. Because the way, like I was looking at surgeries, for example, and their robotics, how they using robotics, and
Yeah,
have to, and then there's doctors that have to run their basically prognosis or diagnosis of what they come up with
yeah,
through the AI,
yeah.
and it has to pass the check. And
And
what I think they're doing to try to limit lawsuits. You know what I mean?
yeah, and here's the thing too, right? Like that's such a good point. Even with robotics and the medical industry, like there still has to be a human watching over it
It has to be. Yeah.
because you know this is what they say about AI. What they say about AI is so AI can predict with a 75% accuracy if there's a cat in the photo. But the problem is a 4-year-old can do it with a 100% accuracy if
Hmm.
there's a cat in the photo. It's the same thing with medical robotics AI. It can tell with a 75% accuracy if this looks like a liver and this is something on the liver, right?
Hmm.
But the human can tell, oh, dude, you're reading the image wrong. You
Hmm.
know, so that's why, if anything, with the humans are teaming up with the robots unless you know the robots start attacking us, right?
Yeah.
But like
Basically,
the
I robot.
human, yeah, are teaming up with the robots versus you know
Yeah.
anything else.
I think I 100% agree on that, man. It got to be a human component in the room or manning the data or manning the machine or like uploading the program, whatever. Because at the end of the day, it's just a highly functioning program, you know, and that can need refreshing or however to do it, you know. I just think I feel it's gonna take some jobs away.
A hundred
Um,
percent.
yeah, I do think that. I think that
Like
because
the
of it,
McDonald's drive-through man and like,
yeah, it's like
yeah,
you talking to AI now, and then they got one that's no human. It's all they. I forgot what they testing it at already, but it's fit. I think it was a Chick-fil-A, and it's coming through the conveyor belt. Nobody fixed the sandwich. It was
yeah.
all the robot. You know.
I don't trust that.
Yeah, that's
I love
crazy.
me some Chick-fil-A, man, but dude, like if all like I try to avoid processed food at the end of the day,
Yeah,
bro.
I don't eat it.
But that's one reason to make money, man. Like you don't wanna like poison yourself with like the good news, man, is like they're like I've seen that they're like, you know, finally removing that red 40 stuff out of children's.
Yes.
She's like, why are you poisoning food
Yeah,
in
the red
freaking
three,
American
all of
schools,
that.
bro?
Hmm.
Awful.
Right. And I was reading. It's so funny you say that. I was just discussing it as well. And when you read it, they've been trying to do this for decades, right? And that red three has petroleum in it. Like, what made you say petroleum is at whatever dose is okay to consume? So, I think about all that stuff, man. It's like what powers of be. We on. It's a different ball game being played out
Yeah.
here, you know. And we just like in the we on the board, but you got these other people that's over the board, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like how you fit in, how you weave through it, you know. It's curious, man. It's like really you don't want to overthink it, you know, because now you're gonna get in conspiracy theories and anxiety and all of that stuff. You know, you can't
Focus on what you can control.
exactly focus on what you can control and just keep moving. Don't worry about all the other stuff, man. So, what do you think with the real estate? Like going forward, like with this year, you have the pundits saying like, "Hey, third quarter we may see a recession. The interest rate drop. The house, all of this like doom and gloom." Then some people saying it's great. How have you been doing it with your systems? Because I know you like really good at generating leads. You know,
Hella good at generating leads.
yeah,
Yeah.
you get like gangster with it. You know,
Yeah. You know, the thing about me, right? Like, I manage the data for like the top 100 wholesaling companies in the US, and all of them got 60 cold callers. So if you take 10 companies with 60 cold callers, that's 600 cold callers.
mm,
So my job, they literally depend on me to know my shit if I'm feeding them data for 600 cold callers.
right.
Well, and that's just for 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like for the top wholesaling companies out there, bro, I generate them anywhere between 20,000 leads to 50,000 leads a year average.
Mm-hmm.
Average. And so if I know my stuff on that at a large scale, it's very easy for me to know my stuff on the small scale,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I mean, dude, I manage like 60 cold callers at a time per company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so managing one, it's like, oh, dude, this is easy, dude,
Mm-hmm.
right? But essentially, man, you know, like, so you have to, like, so anybody getting into the game, right? Like, you have to, like, for me, cold calling is my favorite marketing strategy because 90% of people don't know how to cold call, right?
Mm-hmm.
90% of people, you know, for one, you know, if they're calling a list, right? No matter what list it is, most of the time they just literally get like 20 people to pick up the phone, and then they just give up. There's 10,000 people
Right.
on the list.
Right.
You're gonna
Right.
give up after 20. You're gonna give up after 200.
Mm-hmm.
The top people, literally every top wholesaler in the game, they will literally get 6,000 people to pick up the phone on the list of 10,000, and that's why they're closing deals and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so like my job is to like, you know, teach, you know, the top guys how to get 6,000 people to pick up the phone. And a lot of the things is like what your dialer settings are, number one. Number two is where you're targeting, because sometimes certain areas could block you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Number three is understanding how like phone carriers work. Verizon block calls, AT&T block calls, T-Mobile block calls. A lot of people don't know this, but Spectrum and Xfinity own all the landlines in the US. And there's free websites out there. Like if you go to like voicespamfeedback.com,
Mm-hmm.
you'll literally see that like Verizon, like it's Verizon backend, and Verizon will literally let you upload all of your business phone numbers to where they won't block any of your calls anymore. Same thing with T-Mobile, same thing with AT&T, because these carriers own all the mobile phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the crazy thing is all the top people know about this, but everybody at the bottom doesn't. So that's why it's so important that you befriend someone who's honest and genuine. Because you and I had the conversation too, like 50% of people are honest and genuine, 50% of people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's very important to find honest mentors that are like, bro, I can instantly see what's wrong with your system. Right? The question is, are you humble enough
Mm-hmm.
to like trust what I'm saying? You know, because mentors can see, like, one of my friends doing $1 million a year. I was talking to him yesterday. Like, I told him, like, I can easily take him to, like, one of my friends. I took one of my friends from 1 million a year to 5 million a year in 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Just with just this.
Yeah, because I've done it, you know, for multiple people, and I've done it for myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, you know, like I looked at his system, I was like, dude, like first of all, you know, you have to up your dials on your auto dialer from $600 to $1,000 a day. That's instantly gonna change your results by like 40%. Number two, your dialer settings. The reason your dialer settings are getting blocked, it's because you know there's a rule, right? If you call someone twice in one day and you're not in their contacts, they instantly block you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told him, look, set your dialer settings to where you call people every other day and you never get blocked. Right? So what happens? You go from talking to 70 people to 100 people a day. And like small things like that, you're increasing the
Yeah.
results by 30%, 30%, 10%, 10%, 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And when you compound those effects, what happens is you're able to compete against everybody in a way they can't compete. So like in Fayetteville, North Carolina, I was the number one wholesaler there for like 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when my friends asked me, they're like, dude, how'd you become the number one wholesaler there? I told them, I was like, look, the thing is like I had 10 cold callers working for me in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The everybody else in Fayetteville, North Carolina is either cold calling themselves or at best they got one cold caller. No matter how hard they can work 12 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how hard they try to compete against me, they can't. Now, if you put me in somewhere like Atlanta, Georgia, right, Sean Cerrone, close friend of mine, he had 50 cold callers in Atlanta, Georgia. Even if my 10 cold callers work 12 hours a day and I work 12 hours a day, I will not beat him
Right.
at all,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he is literally the top guy for cold calling there. You put me in Phoenix, Arizona, I know people in Phoenix, Arizona with 90, 100, 110 cold callers just in Phoenix,
Man.
Arizona alone. My team will never be able to compete there, bro, ever,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because unless I up the team, right? So you have to know what your competition is. Like you have to humble yourself, right? Like you have to know, what your competitors are doing. Same thing from like PPC standpoint, pay per click,
Yeah.
Google Ads.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, like when I mastermind with the top people, like, dude, the top people in Phoenix, Arizona are spending, you know, 80, 90, 100 grand a month in PPC. The top three spenders in PPC in Arizona will get 90% of the leads. The remaining 10% will go to the bottom 1,000 people that are
Mm-hmm.
spending on it. So you can literally spend, freaking 60 grand a month and you're not even gonna get 10% of the leads, that is produced total there.
Yeah.
Versus here in North Carolina, let's just say only two people are spending money in PPC, right? And both of those people are spending 3 grand a month, right? It's not hard to be the person that spends four
Right.
grand a month and get 80% of the results.
Right. Right. That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
So, what you said it like a ton of stuff I was touching on because like, man, so many like gems you was putting in there
Yeah.
that people I want people to catch on because like when you are cold calling, it's key. The conversations, like you can be sitting in front of a dollar for 10 hours, but if you only spoke with 20 people, at the end of the week, you only at the end of 5 days, you're only at 100. That's not going to get you like contracts the way you think,
Yeah.
right? The key is the contact rate, and that's what you was touching on. How actually you are speaking and someone's picking up the phone, and you reached and you said what was it voicespam.com to upload?
Voicespamfeedback.com.
Yeah.
So that's Verizon's backend.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the U.S. government does not want to get rid of cold calling because medical companies cold call,
100%.
right? Freaking debt collection service cold call, political companies cold call, charity companies cold call, nonprofit companies cold call,
Mm-hmm.
real estate companies cold call, right? These are essential businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they do not want to get rid of essential businesses being able to cold call. Now, with that being said, the United States government said that like $3.3 billion was gained from Americans uh, because of overseas companies.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that $3.3 billion, man, like overseas companies taking the credit card information, it's going overseas. That's understandable, right? And so, like, the U.S. government wants to protect against that. So what they did was they told Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Spectrum, Xfinity, hey, we will allow cold calling for legit American business LLCs. So if they can verify that you have a legit American LLC,
Yeah.
right? They're like, okay, like let's make all of these cold calls go through. So unless you upload all of your phone number to Verizon, like that's the only way all of your calls go through without your calls getting blocked.
Yeah.
Um, T-Mobile, same thing. You just type in T-Mobile, upload my business phone numbers, and then T-Mobile will let you upload your business phone number, type that into Google, and then from there, it's free. T-Mobile's backend is a company called First Orient. So First Orient will take your those phone numbers,
Mhm.
and then they will unblock them from everybody that owns a T-Mobile phone.
Mm.
Same thing with AT&T. AT&T has a backend called Haya Help Desk. So if you reach out to Haya, HIYA, they will allow you to call everybody that owns an AT&T phone number without getting blocked, right? So yeah, so like then Spectrum and Xfinity, you upload all the phone number to these two sites. So anytime you call a landline, it always goes through.
Mm.
Because how many times do you call a friend and like they're like, I never received your call,
Right.
all the time, right? People who have an iPhone, if they literally go on their phone app and then they click missed calls and then they click on the I button on the missed calls, it's gonna say calls with a check mark have been verified by the carrier. And so if you so like take out, oh wait, your iPhone right here.
Yeah, another one.
You got another iPhone?
Yeah.
I'll show you, man. So go to your phone app. So
Oh,
now go to recent calls and then missed calls. Yeah, maybe in the CO. Oh, here you go.
okay.
Click the I. Missed calls. Click the I.
Selecting it for some.
All right. Let me see. Try someone you know. Is your iPhone different from mine, man, or did they just create a new update? Let's see.
It say verified by carrier.
Yeah, let me see on my phone. So, I'm wondering if it's just the iPhone update or what. But the iPhone used to tell you if a call.
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to see that though. It
Yeah,
may be
right.
the update. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
think
say
they
verified
updated
by
it to where they
carrier.
don't even show it to you anymore. But yeah, the iPhone would basically tell you whether your phone number is verified or not.
Mm-hmm.
So you used to be able to use your auto dialer phone number to call your regular phone and check if your phone number is verified with the check mark.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I guess they got rid of that feature, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about too. I used to see that on there. Hey, when you are telling people about dollars, do you ever have them do a tune-up? Like basically call people that they know and just set the phone down for a second, like priming it, and then have them pick up. What's your method that you kind of tell them?
Dude, because dude, everybody gotta double check if their business systems work. If you can't even call yourself
Mm-hmm.
from your own auto dialer, that's a problem, right? Because like a lot of times, like people will use certain dialers, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll have dead air. With dead air, it takes 10 seconds for the person to connect,
Right.
right? So a lot of people will show that they have like $4,000 in a day. That's impossible. Your dialer was dialing and not connecting to anybody
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
if your dialer takes freaking 10 seconds, 20 seconds to connect to the homeowner, obviously no one's going to answer your phone.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about the dialer is, you have scam likely and you have blocked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scam likely means your call still go through, but all of your calls will say scam likely, so people won't answer it. And
Right.
here's the thing: if people do answer, they're gonna say wrong number, right? Because it literally said scam likely on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Block calls mean that you literally call and it's like boop boop boop, right? Like on every single call you do.
Mm-hmm.
So the top people in the business, they're very good at buying 30 phone numbers at the for each one of their cold callers. Because think about it like this, right? To explain it simply, when one phone number does 3,000 dials, it automatically gets blocked. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
replace it because like the way that the carriers look at it, it's like, oh, this is obviously a robot calling
Right.
and not a human because no human's gonna do 3,000 dials in a month.
Mm-hmm. Gotta keep switching
Exactly,
them
you
up.
always have to keep switching them out.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen so many people fail or they spend so much money on auto dialers when they shouldn't because first 3 months their campaign went very well. And then
Mm,
all of a sudden they're like, how the hell did we go from generating 10 leads a day to 0 leads a day?
mm-hmm.
Must be the data, must be whatever the scenario. No, it's your phone number. It's the fact that you had 30 working phone numbers when you first started.
Yeah.
Then the next month you only had 20 working phone numbers. Next month you had 10 working phone numbers. Now you have 0.
And not checking to see if actually, because you can see if it's saying spam likely if you're not
Exactly.
in your thing. What you say is the future, what you for kind.
The future of
I
the country.
see, because I see what you do. You run people's systems,
Mhm.
essentially, basically running their businesses. So they just reach out to kind and say, "Hey, this is what I'm looking to do," and y'all
Yeah.
set them up with plans.
Yeah. Like for anybody interested in the data stuff and scaling, they can always call like kindcaptrition.com, right? And then, like ask for help from my team. But like the thing is, like for us, man, we care about like innovation and results, right?
Mhm.
We're trying to create like predictive data to a point where, like one in every 300 calls does become a deal.
Mhm.
Because that way people can get to a point where they're closing like 1 to 2 deals a week versus 1 deal a month.
Yeah,
And that's
and that's
what's
a
going to change
small
things.
team. That you
Exactly.
can do that with a smaller,
You can do that with a
thing.
smaller team. Exactly.
Cold calling. That's one channel. But I tell people, if you want to do multiple deals, you gotta have
Yeah.
multiple channels.
And here's the thing, bro. I don't know anybody, bro, that does $1 million a year by themselves. Like, I know
No.
people that do 600 grand a year by themselves, right?
Hmm.
But like, I don't know a single person that does $1 million a year by themselves, right? They have to have some sort of team, whether it's
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4
Hmm.
employees.
Hmm. Because like when you think of all the different things I do, like for example, just at the first quarter of last year, that's the first month, it was two types of deals that produced 300 some grand. That was a SIR method, which we know is sub to buying the house sub to, doing a little work to it, and then just pulling the equity back out because you had equity in it. And then one was a traditional BRRRR. I was just trying them out and pull the equity out. The same thing. Now you taking out, adding the wholesale, the passive income, like, and then you doing the fix and flip, stuff like that. That's how it compounds.
What's your
So
thoughts on passive income, bro?
I think it I think it's essential to if you're looking for a certain level of freedom,
Yeah.
right? I It's like when people say financial freedom,
Yeah.
right? It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's idea of financial freedom. You can have a person that love what they do, right?
True.
Like this is what you feel your passion and your purpose of why you created. Everybody has a gift. It's nobody special in the world. It's just how you pull the gift and how you using it, like tapping into it. So say a person working at their 9 to 5, but it's enriching and it's a part of their purpose, and they do the things that they want to do. Meaning they take their trips and they like to. They have time alone at home to do their meditate, knitting, whatever. That's a level of freedom to them. But it's the ones that go to work and complain. "Oh, I don't want to be here, bro." So that means you got to get out of here. Cause it's not tied to your purpose. Just you literally got to take chances. The beautiful thing that we've been created, how our bodies have been created biologically, it's the safest. It's safeguards. It's so your brain is this whole thing that's connected to this nervous system, lymphatic system, immune system, all of this stuff. So when you're going out in entrepreneurship, your brain is saying, okay, this is uncertainty. I'm scared. So to make you get complacent, it's the ones like you and I that understands that and we push through it. Like, nah, I'm gonna just take this risk. And now the brain allows you, because you control it and it does the thing like, oh, okay. So now it gives you more skills. Now you done built up a muscle. Like you courage, you
Yeah.
courageous now until you go to the next level. So why people never ascends to the next level? Cause of that, it's like a little almond shape in our brains. We keep skipping. I think it's medulla. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound weird.
Medulla oblongata or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
the
Yeah.
thing that controls our fears and our uncertainties, all of that. So it's protecting us. It's kind of like when you're afraid and it shoots adrenaline to our bodies to make us get strong real fast or run real fast, really like superhuman type strength. That's in us naturally, right? So what separates those high achievers, they keep breaking that thing in their mind. Their mindset is like, nah, I can do it. I got confidence in myself. That's why you see them like, popping themselves up. And but we don't have to do all of those like antics or whatever. But it's something we do to make us say, yeah, I can handle this. I'm gonna keep going. And it's the ones, and those ones you see go crazy with it and get to another level to where it's like, oh, now it's just like clockwork, and it becomes passive. So now you got so many different ways to get passive income now. Like when you look at people that spend 2 and 3 hours in front of a computer, well, that's active income, and they just doing thousands of dollars on the stock market just a few hours a day. Then they may put it into like a multi-family or a single family, which is smaller too, but it's how you maximize your space of a single family home, renting it by the room. So now that's more passive income. You get enough of those, you're at 10, 20,000. Now you travel and do all the things similar to what you said. I'm traveling all the country because I know I might spend 30,000, 20,000 in January, but in February I got another 30 coming. So I'm about to be up 30,000 plus the 10 left over. So that's the level of how I see passive, to where you can just sleep and you're making money. So it's different avenues you got to do that too. And I feel if you want to get to the point of being a billionaire, there's people like how you said teams. Your team, you have invested so much in your resources of people that now they just you got to create leaders. That's how I look at it. I don't want you to be just working for me. My thing is to lift you. If I feel I can't lift you, that means it's something that you not focused on. Because I feel I can take something that they don't know anything and can mold you into what you should be. You know. So that's how I look at it. I think passive income, I like it, but it has to be at the point that fits your lifestyle. And it's all about what you choose in their lifestyle to be. Too many people will see what others is doing and feel like that's what they have to do, rather than what truly fuels you. You know?
You gotta find a mentor, bro, that truly relate to you, right? Because that's
Yeah.
when it's just like
Hmm.
natural, and because if two people are two completely different personality, bro, it's
Yeah.
not gonna work out, bro. Like they're trying to copy. If you're trying to copy an analytical person and you don't, and you're the type to just go go go, it's
Hmm.
not gonna work out. You have to find someone who's just like you, that's just like go go go, right? But let's just say you're an analytical person and you want to copy somebody who, like good at these spreadsheets and tracking and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the mentor you need because it's gonna be more like that. If
Hmm.
you're very social, you're gonna have to find a mentor man that like knows like that's just very social, knows how to put himself in the right doors with the right
Right.
people.
That's how I
Exactly.
look at Sam. Sam Singh, good guy, man.
Who is that?
He's really Sam Singh. I'm gonna bring him on the show one time. He like travels and does a lot of speaking engagement stuff like that. But that's one of his skill sets that he's tapped into. He said, "I have a," and everybody got a superpower. Everybody has a gift, right?
God given
He
gift, man.
is God given, right? Once you understand what they get, well, like me, I understand what mine is, and that's people. Like I can actually talk to anybody. So it's like if you can actually relate to somebody, how do you use that to enrich not only helping yourself and your family, but other people around you? And that's what it'll start leading me to. I can just say, oh, this is how I can make. Like when we discussing stuff, and you say, oh, you do this. Oh, this is what I do too. We'll marry him, and you gonna make this, and we'll do that, and we just keep building on stuff. I do that with like a ton of people, right? So that's how I look at it, man. It's like you have to, and that's Sam. Sam has that power to where he gets in multiple rooms with people that you don't normally be in. Is whether if you're paying through. But the key is, I'm gonna highlight it. It's investing in yourself. People have a problem with spending money on themselves, but will spend money on, say, a car, right? That depreciates. If you spend that same 20,000 on mentorship, that's lifetime. Because you
The right
create
mentor.
the right mentor. Because
50% of them will just run
it's
with your
fake.
money,
Now, I
right?
literally just had a conversation with this lady, man. She felt so bad because they basically took her for like a ton of money, probably like 25 or more, and she's got nothing from it,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. So I was like, I don't never want to be the person that's charging like that because it alienates. Now, when you do charge that much, is a reason,
Yeah.
right? Because you want guys like you and I in that room that's masterminding together and those higher than me. I don't never want to be the smartest person in the room. You know what I mean? That's why I like coming here and listening to you. You do something totally different, you know. And I learned. So I
Yeah.
picked up, oh, that's what it is. This I'm learning from it, you know. So you want to have somebody higher all the time. You don't want to
Yeah.
be like that.
You know, like you always gotta find someone that's like minimum 10x above your level, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the best mentors are ones that you literally can't pay. You know, like so my mentor does $70 million a year, right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
I can't pay him. Like
That's
literally, like
interesting.
if I had gave him $1 million, it won't do anything to change his. It
So he
literally
be
won't
like,
change his life, bro.
he just be
I'll be
like,
like,
no
I made
money.
it this week. You know, it's like, right?
That's
So
interesting. I never heard that. Cause every like so, for example,
yeah,
and I'm not gonna name names.
yeah,
I
yeah.
name Sam because that's a good dude,
Right,
and he's not a mentor. He don't even want mentorship.
right, right, right,
He give it for free, 100%.
right.
But you have people saying they charge 100 grand or $30,000 per hour to these individuals.
Stupid, bro. You know, it's like, cause bro, you know, back in the days, man, I think you used to be able to get Warren Buffett for like freaking 100 grand for 30 minutes, you know, like something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's not like why would you pay like 100 grand to somebody that's not worth $100 million plus? It makes zero sense, in my opinion.
Right. But if a person is worth 400, 500, it's okay to pay 100 grand a year to that person. You think
How much?
100 grand to them if they worth 400, 500 million.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%, even like $100 million plus, right? But
Yeah.
like the key thing, man, is like you know, Warren Buffett, bro, he says, cost is what you pay, value is what you get, right? So if you're gonna pay 10 grand on a mentorship, you better learn how to make an extra 100 grand a year,
A
right?
100%.
Per
Right.
per year, automated in
That's
your sleep.
yes. That's what I was getting at. That's why
Yeah,
when I said a 400 to it as a, in
yeah,
the ratio of 100,
yeah.
that means that my idea is that I'm looking to be 100 million plus. That's why I came to it.
My richest friend here in Charlotte, bro, does $300 million a year, right? And like during when I first met him, he was like, "Josh, how old are you?" And I was like, "I'm 26 years old." And you know what he told me? But he was like, I remember when I was 26 years old, man, I owned 200 units and I was cash flowing $2 million a year. I was like, this motherfucker humbled me, bro. Dude, and then he was like, how many units you? And I was like, zero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like, but like, they're not like today he makes $200 million a year. I can't pay him, dude. If I pay him $1 million, bro, literally, bro, it won't change it. He makes $1 million a day.
That's
You know he makes $1 million a day. How can you know? So that's what I'm saying. Real mentors, bro. And bro, me and Josh went to his office, and bro, like we got in that room for free. Why? Because he saw himself and us,
yes. That's why
right?
yes.
And so every once in a while with the like you know God is gonna put someone in your life where it's like no you don't want to be someone to just take right
Man,
hell
you
no
read my mind, bro. Like literally. That's what was in my brain. It's
yeah
like I'm gonna tell you what my problem be a lot of times. This is true. Is that even with you actually,
yeah
like you'll notice sometimes you won't hear from a while because in my brain it's like, how can I give something to Josh? Like 100%. That's with every person I ever, even to the point of pace. When
yeah
I first got in there, I would never just talk to him. It's like, what? How can I can't give him nothing?
yeah
You know what I mean? But when I came up with raps and I was doing that rap, I said, oh, I can discuss it with him, and he can educate more people just through me, and that's how we got close. Same thing with you. I say, what can I do for y'all? So I say, hey Josh, come up here and you spoke. Hey, I think you should use this. And now it's the next level. Okay, how can I make Josh more money? How can I take his stuff national? I said, oh shoot, I'm working on this thing. So I went back with you, you know what I mean?
yeah
That's how I am. So I said that because when you're around these individuals, you have to have that mindset. Some though be like they want to be used up. It's a quote like that. I want to be used up. For when I die, I want to be able to take everything. Like, cause they want that. They want to just expel what they know. But then you have those other individuals that only do it because they see, like you say, see something in you. And that's why it's so important for me, bro. Like 100%. Like my goal is to be not big, just big. I'm, I drive around more than anything in my appointment setup, right? I call it blue. I don't, you know, you see me that more than anything, right? So it ain't about the flash stuff, but so when I say big, that means that I can now be in these rooms with individuals and providing value to those rooms, and now that value that's being exchanged, I'm giving it back to these people that can't afford the 10 grand that I paid initially to get into a membership, the 40 grand, the 25 grand. They no, let me get you in here for like 3,000. So this is a trick though. People like us to see 3,000, be like, okay, that what's the value in it? Is it real value of
Yeah.
3,000? Because that's how we're equating it.
Yeah.
And then you get in there, you're like, oh shit, this is undervalued.
Yeah.
That's how I did with Sub 2, for example. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is freaking undervalued. You know, I done paid this money, but I done made double that in a
Yeah.
matter of 4 months, right? So that's the thing, man. It's like everybody, I feel, has to have it's privilege involved too.
Mhm.
100% to hear that too from both sides. I can like that's why I love my friends that don't look like me, that's higher up too, and they tell me like, bro, this is it's privilege too. They understand their privilege,
Yeah.
understand if it's race, classism, whatever. They get in the door based off of that. Well, so we alternate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We tell them friend like some doors you can walk in, I won't be able to go in that door. Some days I walk in the door, you won't go in, and some of the rooms we both will come in.
Yeah.
But it's the collaboration efforts of it. How do you see like that playing so much of a factor with
Yeah.
just the growth and speed of others as well as others?
You cut your learning curve in half by far, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like whenever I hang out with my billionaire friend that makes 20 million a year,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for him, you know, like in our industry we have a thing called KPIs, right?
Right,
The
right, right.
performance indicator. And he was like, yeah, man, the thing about real estate, man, is for every $1 million you make, you're gonna get one lawsuit. So he's like, yeah, you know, for making $20 million a year, I get 300 lawsuits a year. And like, you know, for us, you know, I look at our KPIs and I was like, that's so fucking true. We get one list pendant lawsuit, whatever, for every $1 million we do in real estate. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, back then I was like, man, what are we doing wrong? How do I prevent? Right? And then when he said that, I was like, we ain't doing nothing wrong, bro. You know,
Right,
like
right,
it's
right.
just literally one lawsuit for every $1 million.
Right.
You know, it's exactly what his KPIs are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was like you and I had this conversation where it's like, you know, you kind of learn from them in action,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's the best way to learn.
Right.
And one thing I want to add too, man, is like, I love what you were saying. You know, you were basically saying like, you know, the best way to find a mentor too is be a badass yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because like even you and I's relationship, you're so much better than me at creative finance,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I were to take on a $2 million commercial deal and I want to do a creative finance, I need someone to double check my work.
Mm-hmm.
I got you in my circle. You're the first person I'd call and be like, because you live in my local area, I'd be like, yo, Chad, come to this property right now
Yeah.
and double check these numbers to make sure I'm not missing anything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the value that you add.
Mm-hmm.
You know, add protection.
Mm.
And yeah, but I think everybody they're gonna find what makes them a badass.
Yeah.
And then that's what's gonna like bring them in the door. For the billionaire, dude, like he knows everything about real estate, he doesn't know everything about software. Right?
Mm.
So for me, like, you know, that's the value I add to him. I can double check his software work.
Mm. Right.
And
Right.
I'm like, hey man, this is how you're gonna get it cheaper. This is how you're gonna make it more and more effective.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, you know, he values that input
Yeah.
and come from being a badass myself.
Yeah. 100%. That don't never hurt. That definitely elevates too, man. So cool, man. This has been like really good. You know, we took I think from
Yeah,
this is how, of course, the beginning of something
yeah,
to where we are, how we spoke of collaborations, the
yeah,
importance of it too, and also the importance of giving value. You know what
yeah,
I mean? And a lot of times, value is it a monetary value? It's just the information you have and how you're willing to just assist. You know what I mean? Because again, like you say, the billionaire, what can I give you as a billionaire? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I can provide something I see that's a problem and just solve this little thing for it. And that's how they look at this little stuff. I noticed that about a ton of people. It's just higher value,
Yeah.
and informant. They just like they know what they know, but they don't know everything. Nobody does,
Yeah.
And you can recognize that thing and solve it. Oh man, it takes you to another level. You know what
Exactly, bro.
I mean? Yeah. So for kind skip tracing,
Yeah.
you got your thing is data. Your thing is scaling people's companies. You definitely a genius in it, bro. Like I've been watching from way back. When I didn't even know you, and I was just on we was on a call from way back then. It was funny how when I seen you in person, like bro, I spoke to you like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we just kind of clicked ever since then. What's the thing that you see just for you in the next like 10 years? What you want to be doing? Like your whole impact
We want to
goal.
be a number one and create an impact for real estate investors.
Mm,
So for us, man, we're just gonna focus on having the best data.
mm-hmm.
Eventually, I think the data will be so good to the point where we have the one exact right phone number for every single owner, right? So that's gonna
Gang.
be huge.
Yeah.
The next thing is, we wanna help create impact in the dispo industry, right? So we wanna get to a point where, like we create a network of every single real estate investor in the whole USA to where they can instantly find a buyer for this hotel they have under contract. They can instantly find a buyer for, this warehouse that they have under contract. You and I were having that conversation where I had the contract of all the land that was in front of Walmart, literally. Like it couldn't get better. There's only one street, right? Like where the Walmart is, and across the street, all the vacant land. I had like 90 acres or something like that. I lost the deal because I couldn't find a buyer in 9 months. 9 months was hella time.
Yeah.
And Chick-fil-A and Audi's end up buying that deal. That one deal would have made me a multimillionaire alone, bro.
Yeah. That would have been a
But
setup
I
right
couldn't
there.
pull it off. But at least, you know,
Learn though.
by God's grace, man, I'm able to like have the data to where I can finally create platforms where people can connect instantly to like the people at Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, Audi's, right,
Yeah.
to sell land to them
Mm-hmm.
if they wanted to. And so that's what me and Dosh want to create,
Mm-hmm.
along with creating the best data for everybody in the real estate industry.
Love it, man. And I can see y'all doing it for sure. Cause the way you think with data, you know what I mean? The way you like that's your passion, you know what I mean? And that's where you like have grown it. You constantly keep leveling up with it. Even a couple creative deals we talked about, you know what I mean, was super. So we like to end off on with one of the guests giving something of motivation about I call it the aim to be positive at the end of it. What's something you would say to the audience? Just
Yeah.
something quote that you have, something inspiring to give them.
Yeah. I would say you can't do things alone. Find the best partner in the game. I'm so lucky because I found a partner I respect.
Yes.
I found a partner where
Stop.
we balance each other out. I
Yeah.
can't do what he does. He can't do what I do. We always bring each other. We'll always break. Because a lot of times, when you're growing and growing, the thing is, it's like a lot of times every entrepreneur knows you lose friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that, one person wants to stop growing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can have a partner that has the same values as you, whether it's a spouse, whether it's your best friend, whether it's a brother, whether blood related or non-blood related,
Mm-hmm.
right? That one person in your life that can stick with you, like if you have that, I think that, you're more blessed than anybody else. That's all you need. Because if you're in the trenches together, doesn't matter if you're low, doesn't matter if you're high, because there will be up and down, but
Oh, 100%.
good not to be lonely during the up and downs.
Yeah. Love that, man. Partnership is key. So this is it, man. Another episode. Josh, hey, bro. It's been gangster. I appreciate you 100%,
Appreciate you,
man.
bro.
And I'm gonna look forward to doing tons of stuff, man. Be on the kind skip tracing, y'all. I'm telling you, legit. Kindskiptracing.com. You may see it on the platform, so you have to talk about tons of stuff too. So until next time, man, keep freaking going.